Milton, you thought that games like the confetti game would be the worst of the playoff losses of the process. You thought that would be the most traumatizing, but obviously not. Clearly not. I guess after all the upgrades we made, after all the great off-season moves that had us become the one seed in the East, great defensive team, all that stuff, all the stuff that made us believe this was the year, this was the championship team, this was the team that was going to get Joel Embiid his championship, to complete the process, fulfill all that was foretold by Sam Hinkie all those years ago. Nope, 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 nope. And we should have known. Like, the actually, no, we should have known, because the amount of ridiculous things that happened in this game is just, like, I was there in person. I did not leave my seat once. I watched the whole game. I have no idea what happened. Like, I can't even explain it. I don't think anybody really can. I mean, I can try to point to things, certain things maybe the head coach, Doc Rivers, might have done incorrectly. I can point to the fact that Tobias Harris shot 2 of 11 from the field and scored 4 points and didn't show up at all. I can point to Ben Simmons going 4 of 14 at the line. That's 28%. That's absolutely terrible. I just saw a thing on Twitter. He's currently has the second worst free throw percentage in a postseason of all time, besides Ben Wallace, who is notorious for his lacking of any positive impact on offense throughout his career. Um, so yeah, I could point to all those things, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter in the first half. Tobias was bad all game. Ben Simmons, he had 8 points in the first half. He finished with 8 points. That wasn't good, but he wasn't doing much to begin with, and I, I just don't. How do you have Joel Embiid red hot, destroying the Atlanta Hawks? Click Capella had 5 fouls. Click Capella had 5 fouls for like the last 7 minutes of this game. Why don't you get him out of the game? Like, why don't they hunt? I understand modern NBA, you space the floor, all that. We already don't, because our point guard doesn't shoot threes. And it's obviously such an overplayed criticism of Ben, and that's not what I'm going to complain about after that loss, because we could have easily won that game. Had nothing to do with Ben's lack of shooting ability. But we already don't play modern NBA basketball, so feed Embiid in the post, which they did in the first half. And I just don't get it. The last 5 minutes, he's standing at the 3-point line, or he's just waiting to get like putbacks off of Tobias's half like lack. I can't even describe what his shots were. He was just basically, I mean, they were either contested or he's doing these fadeaways. I don't know. I don't know what his shot selection was tonight. But you got that going on. And then you had Seth, who was incredible. And all of a sudden, he couldn't even get around any screens. They couldn't get him open anymore. And, like, you'd think they'd adjust. And once again, the bench lineup, it wasn't as bad as the first game, like the game one, when the bench lineup was terrible. But we played 11 people again. Like, it's round 2. Like, Shake Milton, I get it. He saved us the other night. But there's a reason he's a streaky shooter. He's not going to do that every time. Like, Doc just wants Lou Williams. We should have traded for Lou Williams instead of the Hawks if Doc wanted Lou Williams. Like, I mean, I'd rather have him than Shake, I guess. And he was great down the stretch for Atlanta. But, like, Shake Milton, George Hill. George Hill's another one. We trade for George Hill. I was excited. I've always liked George Hill. Good defensive guard, knows how to win. He's been on winning teams his whole career, whether it's the Bucks, the Cavs, the Pacers, even Utah that one year. I think they made the second round with him. He's always been a winning situation. He led the league in 3-point percentage just last season in Milwaukee. And the way he's used, and I think it's partly because he has to play with Shake half the time, he drives, but his drives aren't like confident. He barely shoots threes. You're lucky to get 1 3-point attempt out of him, it seems, in these playoffs. And they don't use him as creator. He plays off the ball. They have Shake bring the ball up. So that's a whole other issue. But And then Maxey, who was amazing in round one, he came to play. Everyone was talking about how much he improved throughout the season. And then just one shake game makes him become the 11th man who plays 2 minutes. But we shouldn't be playing 11 people anyway. Obviously Matisse has to play, but I would have even started Matisse. Furkan, I know we need the shooting without Danny Green, but like he's just starting him and not just starting him, but playing him like down the stretch run didn't make sense either. And then Dwight Howard is the only other guy who should be playing because Embiid can't play 48 minutes. And after that, maybe Shake for 8 minutes, but I think he played more than that. So I don't know. But you think you'd adjust. Like when Tobias Harris is 2 for 11, like I understand he's our third best player, second best player, however you see it. But at a certain point, you have to adjust. It's just not his night. That doesn't mean don't play him next game. He's been awesome for most of these playoffs. He's had a couple bad games, but he's also had a lot of good games, including in this series. So they either tell him not to shoot as much or bench him. Like I understand. I just criticized the whole bench unit thing, but at the same time, maybe don't bench him, but don't coach Ben. Like tell him. I'll never understand how Ben Simmons, who he's had plenty of games like this, but then he also has the games against Utah. 42 points on the alleged defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert. We're not going to get into Rudy right now. But anyway, how does that game not give him the confidence? He could be such a good driver to the rim. He doesn't eat. That's the crazy part. I defend him all the time because all these stupid people want to talk about the free throws, which, I mean, they're way worse. In the regular season, they were nowhere near this bad. They weren't 30% bad. So that's a new issue. But before, free throws, doesn't shoot threes. That was never the issue. It's that he doesn't have confidence. It's so obvious that if he just, I guess, believed in himself, he would be able to go to the rim, especially in this series. The Atlanta Hawks, they don't have DeAndre Hunter, who, is very underrated, really versatile defensive wing for them. Probably their best defensive player, who would probably be guarding Ben in this series. And he's not playing, he's hurt. All they have are these bigs that he could blow by. He could blow by John Collins almost any time if he just drove down the rim, if he put his head down and went to the rim, like how he, in theory, should be able to. And then on the other side, it's just these turnstile guards, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, Bogdanovich. These guys aren't good defenders. They're not even average. He can blow by them even easier. Dunk on them, do anything. He brings that energy sometimes, but it's so rare. And, I mean, Danny Green would have helped tonight, but to say, oh, we lost because Danny Green was hurt, when Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard and Mitchell and Conley and LeBron and even for Atlanta, Hunter, Kyrie and Hart, all these other guys of way more importance are out, and those teams are still finding ways. Denver was able to beat Portland with Facundo Campazzo in the starting lineup. That guy's 5'11" and is an average at best shooter, and he had good games. And Denver won a playoff series. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people are upset with Doc, and rightfully so, because this is what, I mean, I don't really want to get into Doc's playoff history, but you got the Denver series last year. You got, of course, the Houston, Corey Brewer, Josh Smith, 3-point barrage. I think the one year it was 8 years ago now, but the one year against OKC with Durant, I think they blew a pretty substantial lead. And I think even against back with the Celtics after they won the title, I think he had at least one of those. But he definitely deserves criticism, but we're not gonna fire him. I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, get someone who won't play 11 guys in the postseason." It's that's true and all, but there's no one to replace him with. Look around the league. This is almost good enough. A whole another topic, but Spoelstra, Popovich, Budenholzer, these are the guys. Brad Stevens, who's now out of a job. Like, these are the guys that are supposed to be the best head coaches in the league. Like if you would ask anyone in October who are the best coaches in the league, those guys would be the names. And Doc, all those guys, all of them have had major struggles all season. So I almost wonder at this point, like, not that coaches don't matter, because they do, but like for example, don't forget Britt Brown. Like, yes, Doc has his issues in this playoff series, but Britt Brown was playing Greg Monroe real playoff minutes. He was playing Raul Neto over Trey Burke. Like, he was doing even less coaching of Ben than Doc has. But like the lack of adjustments is just embarrassing, and I just don't see them winning 2 more games against this Hawks team. Cuz I mean, if they win the series, I would probably get right back on the bandwagon, because that just proves that they're a really mentally tough team. But I just don't think they are. Like, I don't think Ben Simmons is gonna be like, I'm bouncing back from this. This is all. This is I can flip the switch for myself, and go out and do everything I need to do. I think he's gonna be even worse on Friday, because I just think he's a tentative player. I don't know what coach, if any, will, like, I guess, like, you have to talk almost like Wiggins. Wiggins, we said for years, oh, just get him. Minnesota's always having turnover, like, in the coaching in the front office. If they just get a leader, Tibbs was supposed to be the guy. Tibbs, who proved this year that he's as tough a coach as they come. He redeemed himself this year with the Knicks. He proved that he can coach almost anyone to a really tough, hard-nosed defensive team. He couldn't get nothing out of Wiggins from a defensive standpoint. He couldn't muster anything out of him. So some guys are just, they are who they are. This is just who they are. And Ben Simmons, he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. I still stand by that. But I don't know if he'll ever become an aggressive player. He might always be a glorified role player, and we might have to move on from him if we lose the series. And I'm not saying, like, trade him no matter what. We need to get something back, whether it's Bradley Beal somehow, maybe even CJ McCollum, anything. But if we lose this series, I think Daryl's going to have to shake things up. And I trust Daryl. I'm so happy. To me, he's best GM in the league. He already proved that with getting Horford out of here for Green, getting Curry. And even, like, I love the George Hill trade. I thought George Hill was going to be the sixth man, the bench guy in this playoffs, and they don't use him right. I don't know if that's George Hill's not as good. I don't know if that's Doc's fault. I don't know if it's because Shake doesn't pass to him. But I don't know. But hopefully Daryl Morey, if we lose this series, will have the right moves for us to finally build a championship team around Embiid, because I thought it was going to be this year. But I guess not. So